Hello my friends, Lenny with Vintage Nationals here with you today on the web at nationalguitar.com. Well, I've got another bench talk for you. You know, a lot of people like the idea of upgrading their cones to the new hot rod cone, which has been around for about a year and a half. And I've sold a lot of cones to people and they've called and asked, can you walk me through changing the cone? Is it that big a deal? And it's really not that big a deal. So I'm going to walk through with you today. I actually have a vintage steel Delphi that was sent in to have a new cone put in. Just want to show you how easy it is to switch a cone, swap the biscuit across. So first of all, we're going to take this guy apart, and I have a specific little sequence that I go through. So first of all, what I want to do is take all the tension off the strings, of course. So I'm going to get the strings really loosey-goosey here. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some, I use the blue tape. Second thing I'm going to do, I'm going to loosen the strings. And then I'm going to take this piece of blue tape and I'm going to put it across the top of the tailpiece here. Now in this guitar I'm actually going to change the strings, so really I would have just taken the strings off, but for those of you that are going to change your cone and keep the same strings on, this makes it a little easier. I'm going to put the tape on there, as you can see. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tailpiece screw out. Now there's no tension on the strings anymore. And I've already started it, so I'm going to pull it out with my hand here. So now the tailpiece screw is out. The tailpiece is just sitting on there. And the next thing I'm going to do is take the 9 screws out around the cover plate, which I've already started to do to save time. Okay, so now I've got the screws off. I've got the tailpiece screw off of the back. I've got my tape on here. I got my strings slack. So I can pick this whole thing up. Lift the tailpiece, just slide it up a little bit, upwards like this, gently, and I can lift it and the cover plate off together. Now because I've got this tape on here, I can actually do one other little thing that's kind of convenient. I turn this upside down and I can gently slide this through here and still have my tailpiece with the strings on it, so when I'm ready to pop it back on, it's already in place and I don't have to race around. It's still on there. I don't have to race around pushing the strings back in each of the holes and be time consuming. Now in this case, this is actually a 2007 Delphi, and as you can see, this cone has actually become very fatigued over on this side. And this is this just goes to show that, as you can see along here, you can see that, and on the other side hopefully you can see along here. So there's a fatigued cone. We're going to take the brand new hot rod cone here. And how do you know it's a hot rod cone? Well, you can see these little emblems, hopefully you can see them, that are embossed into the cone itself. When you get a new cone, it's going to come with a new biscuit like this here. But because we already have a biscuit that's been shaped for this particular guitar, we're just going to transfer this biscuit onto the new cone. So as you can see, there's one screw on the back that I will take out. It's a little Phillips head screw, and again, use the correct screwdriver to get it out. And once you take that off, there's actually a little bit of glue on the outer edge of this. When it was first assembled, National Resophonic puts a little glue on there. So you got to kind of tweak with it. Okay, this was pretty horrific. You can see they put a ton of glue. This is not typical, but this has a ton of glue on it. Now we're going to have to get that glue off of there to put this onto the next cone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it on some sandpaper on something flat and just go back and forth on it till I get the glue totally clean. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so as you can see, I've taken a piece of 100 grit sandpaper, laid it on a flat table, put it on your floor, on the garage floor, or on a brick, or on a piece of 2x4. Take this guy, sand that bottom until I got it perfectly flat. Wear a mask, which I'm not doing. Now I got a nice clean, smooth. So now I'm going to insert this onto the hot rod cone. As you can see, hot rod. Now I'm going to take a little bit of glue also, like the factory does. Just going to get a little bit on my finger here. I like to use my finger for whatever reason. And as you can see, I'm going to work my way all the way around the outer edge of this thing till there's a thin bead. Thin, not like the bead that was on there. I think someone had a happy day with the glue at the factory. As you can see, there's a little thin bead of glue down there now. And I'm going to center this and put it, well, put it like this. So it's on there. And I will put the screw in from underneath. You will see that this has been dimpled a little bit. See how the inside of where the screw rent is dimpled a little bit? That's because the screw pressed in. When the cone is first made, this is like a circle, but you gotta usually press this in just a little bit for the screw to catch. I'm gonna take the wood screw. I'm gonna place it in here. Try to center a little bit. As you can see from the other side, there's the screw coming up. I can just center that with the little hole that's already in there. Center those two. Okay, so I've got it. It's on the top. I've got the screw started in there. And as I screw it in just to snug it, you will see that this actually bends in just a little bit. I don't want to screw too far. I just want to snug it so you can see how this is dimpled in just a little bit right there from the pressure of the screw going in. Looks good on top. Last thing you want to do, you can take a little paper towel and wet it and just work your way around and get rid of any excess. You can see there's a little bit of glue you can see seeping out, so I'm going to work my way around and get all of that out. So there you go. We have now installed, we've swapped the biscuit and saddle. Now just so you know, this biscuit right here is one piece, this saddle is a second piece. There's actually a little groove that is a little slot that is routed all across the top of this, and then this piece sets in there and glues in. It presses in perfectly, and then it's got a little bit of glue along the bottom. So those are two little pieces in there. It's not one solid piece. But that gives you an idea. So now that we've got our new cone, our correct biscuit on there, which was the original, the cone's the same size. So I can go back and just do opposite of what I've already done. I can set the cone inside. And I'm going to give it a little tilt. I'm going to bring it up about 1/16 of an inch on the treble side to give a little slant to the saddle, and then work my way back. So I can take this, put it back through gently. You don't scratch anything, but it does pull right through. I'm first going to get this, I'm going to line up the screws on the cover plate so they're lined up with the holes. Then I'm going to gently, I'm going to look at the tailpiece where it lines up, because it can go this way and this way. Line it up with the hole, and then just slowly put it down to where that hole is now centered. And take my tailpiece screw with a tailpiece pin. Okay, so I've got that in. I haven't tightened it yet. I've got that in. One little tip when you get your screws back in, I try to get one on each side, just like when you're putting a tire on a car. And always start out putting them in by hand. So as you can see, I got one started there. I will start another on the total opposite side of that. Again, I'm putting this screw in by hand. Once you got two of these in, as you can see, one on each side, then all the other holes are lined up, and it's very easy. Just use your Phillips head in this case and just get these things snug. You don't have to crank on them. Yeah, just get it hand snugged and work your way around. I kind of go this way, side to side, until I'm finally done getting them all in. I usually do the 9th one last, but anyways, that's it. Pretty simple procedure. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was helpful, and we'll see you again at Bench Talk at nationalguitar.com.